Tonight on FOX-Champaign News at 9, areas of my hometown devastated by an EF3 tornado. I'll paint the picture for you coming up. Plus,
sounds of a train coming. The winds picked up. It was a whirling.
The Leroy community is also picking up the pieces after a tornado touched down over the weekend. And a family is safe tonight thanks to the help of a quick thinking neighbor. FOX-Champaign News at 9 starts now. Tonight, the long road to recovery after Saturday's devastating tornadoes. People in Taylorville and other towns in central Illinois working to put their lives back together. Good evening, I'm Jacqueline Francis. Earlier this evening, Governor Bruce Rauner declared Christian County a disaster area. An EF3 tornado touched down on Saturday, one of 23 tornadoes to touch down in Illinois. Our own Doug Quick is a Taylorville native. He's back in his hometown tonight to check in on the devastation. Doug.
hi, Jacqueline, and welcome to my hometown. I wish it was under better circumstances. This is very personal to me because it is my hometown. This is where I spent the first 22 years of my life in this neighborhood that we are in right now. We're in an area, this is called Waco Street. It's just south of Prairie Street where I grew up. I had friends on this street. We have a house over here that I used to visit every morning when I would visit a friend, Mike, and we would walk to the grade school, which was located in Uettville, just to the south of here. But look at what we're dealing with today. Just piles and piles of debris and rubble and everything from tree limbs to aluminum and vinyl siding to clothing up inside the trees. Just an incredible amount of debris here. This is very reminiscent of what we saw in Gifford just a few years ago that I had the opportunity to describe to viewers there as well. Well, we've heard all kinds of just fascinating stories of rescues and people and the damage, and we go now to Rachel Droz, who has more. Rachel Droz from Fox, Illinois. Rachel?
Illinois is coming together to help the people of Christian County after tornadoes take out parts of the town. People donating time, money, and manpower to make this community whole again.
We've certainly transitioned from a life safety issue to instant stabilization.
And with that transition comes management of the outpouring of support for the Taylorville area.
Stonington, Kincaid, Edinburgh, further out, Mount Zion, Decatur, Springfield. Jacksonville's mayors called me and offered help. Carlinville's mayor, Litchfield, Hillsborough, just everyone, Raymond, you know, towns 30, 40, 50, 60 miles away.
As Illinois comes together to pick up the pieces left behind by Saturday's storm.
So I actually came down from Edwardsville. I go down there at SIUE, and I came down to help out. So
officials ask people to avoid checking out the damage for yourself.
It's not near as bad as what it was, but I'm still asking people to avoid that area if at all possible. You only need to be in there if you live there, or just stay away. We don't need any gawkers out there.
The storm sent 26 people to Taylorville Memorial Hospital, and more than 500 homes were damaged. But officials encourage people to look to the future and know that there are brighter days ahead.
We know for sure that a year from now that we'll have a lot of our community will be new, and that's something we're really encouraging people to remember, that you're experiencing some pretty traumatic issues right now, but we have good resources, a lot of brain power working this, great support from our leadership and certainly our mayor, and we're going to make the community whole before they know it.
Taylorville's superintendent says schools will resume classes tomorrow. They were closed today due to storm damage and for the safety of students and staff. Reporting in Taylorville, Rachel Droz, back to you.
A little earlier, we were talking with some people, and Lauren Kostiuk will have this report, but she was talking to a man that actually helped rescue people from an overturned home. Yes, an overturned home down in the Uettville area, just a few blocks from where we are right now. FOX-Champaign's Lauren Kostiuk has more with that conversation with that man who rescued those people.
Well, it was this house here where a mom, a daughter, and a son were all pinned underneath after their house flew off the foundation and flipped over here. That's when a neighbor from across the street ran over, working to dig them out of this debris. He tells me he watched them try to escape his storm shelter, but they were seconds too late, being thrown from their home.
My neighbors was over here screaming and hollering that they was trapped under their house. It was just terrible. When you're in that situation, you just do it. And that's what we did, and it worked.
He said it was a miracle no one in the house was severely injured, including a 9-year-old boy who only had some mud on him. Many of the people here on Houston Street say they plan to rebuild no matter how long it takes. Reporting in Taylorville, I'm Lauren Kostiuk.
Well, coming up a little bit later, we're going to be showing you the all of the work that's being done to clean things up and to restore power. We do have power here in this neighborhood by some miracle, but the crews are out and they're working 24/7. We'll tell you more about that. We'll tell you about the cleanup and what people should do and on how you can help restore life as it was here in Taylorville, what you can do to chip in to help all of these people in need. And we'll tell you more about all of that coming up from my hometown, Taylorville, Illinois. I'm Doug Quick, FOX-Champaign, and back to you, Jacqueline.
Wow, Doug, I can't imagine what it must be like to be out there. Caught on camera, a tornado striking the town of Havana. It's just one of a series of tornadoes that tore through central Illinois Saturday afternoon. The first touched down near Beardstown, damaging the water plant, trees, and power lines. Tornado warnings and flood watches were in effect for more than 4 hours. And take a look at this video coming from Griggsville and Butler. These two towns are about 100 miles away from each other. You can see the funnel cloud forming before it took its hard hit in central Illinois. Officials now confirming that it was an EF3 tornado that touched down in Taylorville. That's where we find our own Doug Quick tonight. Doug.
Yeah, Jacqueline, as you mentioned, this is my hometown, but even beyond that, this is my home neighborhood here. I had friends, I lived in the next street over, but I had friends that lived here. This house behind me right here belonged to a friend of mine, Mike, and I mentioned this earlier. I used to come here every morning at that house, and we would walk together to school when we went to U at school, but it is totally uninhabitable. In fact, I believe virtually all of the homes here along this short 1.5 block area, 900 block of Waco Street here in Taylorville, everything is boarded up and it is quiet. There is electricity here. We do have some street lights. Obviously, the power crews have been here already and moved on, but there is virtually no one here in this neighborhood. There is some security, obviously, but things are very, very quiet here. This is very personal to me anyway, and I haven't lived here for a long, long time, but I still have family members here. My sister lives a couple of blocks away in our family home. It was where my grandparents lived. My dad and his siblings were born in that home, and she owns that house now, and of course it's been remodeled over the years, but it also received some major damage here from that storm on Saturday evening. I happened to be in town at the time. I had other family members here. We left right before the storm approached, not even thinking that it would be this extensive here in the Taylorville area. We're going to come back and tell you more about all of the efforts being made for cleanup and reconstruction. That's in just a few. Jacqueline, back to you.
Thanks, Doug, for sharing that personal story. Taylorville is not the only community hit by those storms. Still ahead.
I mean, we're like family.
Underneath the piles of rubble are stories of heroism and a community coming together, rebuilding a town that was torn apart. A long road to recovery underway in Taylorville. Tonight, just 48 hours after an EF3 tornado tore through town. Our own Doug Quick grew up in Taylorville. He's back in his hometown tonight, checking out the devastation. Doug.
You know, it was pretty obvious when you look at the damage that we're seeing here across the Taylorville region where the path of that storm actually led. A little earlier, we were in sort of the epicenter of this storm on South Houston Street there in the far end of Uedville, almost to the Route 48, what is frequently still called probably the bypass. But that's where extensive damage took place there. But it also moved up across Uedville and approached South Taylorville. This is again Waco Street in the 900 block, and you can see just the total devastation here, not only to homes but also vehicles. We've got a roof there on that one house that just has nothing left. They have patched it up just to keep rain out, and that's a good thing because we're seeing some precipitation here this evening with a rain-snow mix, but a lot of debris, and people have worked tirelessly here, and they've had a lot of help as well. Taylorville has seen so many storms of one kind or another, but this is certainly the worst as far as tornadoes, as far as records. This goes back into the 1950s. We've had numerous ice storms over the years, but this goes way, way back, and this is certainly the strongest tornado to ever hit Taylorville. FOX-Champaign's Anna Espinoza talked with one Taylorville resident who just this has totally broken her heart.
Well, a little bit of devastation, you know. I mean, we have to repair the house. And, you know, I was thinking about having Christmas dinner here, but with all this happening, we can't.
The National Weather Service says the tornado that traveled through Taylorville traveled for about 11 miles and had max speeds of 155 miles per hour.
I just thought to myself and was like, well, it's getting ready to take our whole house.
Many Taylorville residents are like Michelle, who were in their homes when the storm hit.
The kids were panicking, and, you know, I tried to stay calm for them.
Michelle says she is thankful for the volunteers that came out to help.
I mean, there's been a lot of people that's really helped.
And now, with Christmas just days away, Michelle says she has one hope.
That we get everything repaired in time for Christmas.
You know, the amount of people that have come in to help clean up all of this debris and cut down trees, and they've brought chainsaws and equipment in order to get that done. But the people that have volunteered to help has been really extraordinary, and groups are helping to give back to all those that are helping to rebuild their community and their neighborhoods. FOX-Champaign's Amanda Henderson is live in downtown Taylorville here this evening with how all of these people are planning to rebuild. Amanda?
There's been a lot of talk about all the damage that tornado caused here in Taylorville, but one group today wanted to make sure that damage was not the focus, but rather the community coming together was.
It goes back to small town America, that everybody helps everybody.
Okay, stir it. We need to get our sugar in here.
It's a common activity many do at home.
So, yep, it goes in there. The cocoa goes in here.
But today, these simple ingredients have a little more meaning.
We wanted to give people an opportunity to be hands-on and do something to help the disaster we've had in our community.
After an EF3 tornado left parts of Taylorville devastated, and some questioning what their next move will be, kids decided they wanted to help too.
Need to get just a teaspoon of vanilla before you take off with it.
With the kids being out of school today and our ability to teach, we thought this would be a perfect opportunity.
By making something sweet.
Well, I think it's great because they've been out all day.
Cookies for first responders, a group that has given so much to the community they love.
Thank you a lot. Our town was really hit bad, and you just can't say enough.
While these kids say they are grateful to have escaped the worst,
doing great. There was no major damage, so we're really lucky.
They also know others who were not so lucky.
They had to go to some of their parents' friends' house.
And as the town continues to rebuild, these kids will continue to make sure devastation is not the storyline. And despite the amount of damage that happened in the city and surrounding communities, they're not letting that define them. In fact, for the days, weeks, and months to come, the hashtag of Taylorville Strong is very appropriate because this community is not going to let anyone walk by themselves through this. They will all walk through it together. For now, in Taylorville, I'm Amanda Henderson.
Thank you, Amanda. Now, if you would like to help, we're talking to the viewers here. If you would like to help, Christian County officials ask that you only send monetary donations. You can send your donations to the address there on your screen in care of Missions for Taylorville. And we are live in Taylorville this evening, my hometown. Back to you, Jacqueline.
Thanks, Doug. Take a look at this. According to the National Weather, we continue our coverage tonight of the devastation left behind in Taylorville after a tornado ripped through the town Saturday night. Our own Doug Quick is a Taylorville native. He's live there tonight with a look at the damage and the cleanup efforts underway. Doug?
Thank you, Jacqueline. You know, we were talking about some of the devastation that was taking place in Hewitttville on South Houston Street. This is a little closer into Taylorville, but this is just part of it. This particular storm affected areas even toward the central part of the town. Now, we're talking all of the streets here on the west end, west of Spresser Street. We're on Waco. Of course, it affected Prairie Street, Rich, England Street, and I'm doing this by memory, Vandiver Street, Adams, Market, Main Cross, Vine Street, Poplar Park, and all the way up into Spresser. We saw damage there in the business area along Spresser Street there at McDonald's and some of the other signs. Angelo's lost part of their sign, but roofing pieces missing. That's just an example of what we've seen. And then even northward up into the high school area, Taylorville High School area, saw some damage. So this isn't all of it, and it's going to take a long time to fix. We'll tell you more as the days and months go on. I'm Doug Quick from Taylorville. Back to you.
Thank you, Doug. It's been, wow, you shared some incredible stories. And still coming up in our question of the day,